Welcome to the 2022 State of the Town. I am Minerva Ward, President and CEO of the Niagara-on-the-Lake Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Niagara-on-the-Lake. This is the second year of the Niagara-on-the-Lake Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Niagara-on-the-Lake. This is the second year that we are hosting this event. Lord Mayor Betty Disero, Madam Chief Administrative Officer Marnie Cluckie, welcome. We acknowledge the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples, many of whom continue to live and work in Niagara-on-the-Lake today. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the land protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, this gathering place is home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, and acknowledging reminds us that our great standard of living is directly related to the resources and friendship of Indigenous peoples. We stand with all Indigenous peoples, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. We join the rest of the world in responding with shock and outrage at the aggression, unprovoked violence, and sheer brutality in Ukraine at the hands of Putin's government. We stand in solidarity with the people of Ukraine against this war and against all unjust and unprovoked acts of war. Like businesses across the world, our chamber members have had to deal with the impacts of the worst global public health and economic crisis in modern history. In early 2020, the world came face to face with a virus it knew very little about and had to adapt very quickly to minimize its impact on lives and health, while also managing the economic impact to businesses and individuals. Terms like flattening the curve, PPE, and pivoting became part of our newfound COVID lexicon. From lockdowns to stay-at-home orders, to states of emergency, to PPE shortages, to investing in protective barriers for our businesses, to optimistic reopenings and disappointing reclosures, to waiting with bated breath for announcements to see if Niagara would be in the gray, red, orange, yellow, or green zone of provincial health orders, to the emotional and financial highs and lows of 6 waves of this pandemic. 1, 2, 3, and now 4 doses of a vaccine, a virus that continues to mutate and stubbornly refuses to die. We are now at a place in April 2022 where we appear to be going into endemic state with cautious optimism for a much reduced impact on our lives and health, strong business revival, and fresh opportunities. As a town reliant on tourism as one of our main economic drivers, Niagara-on-the-Lake has suffered immensely. Our international borders were closed, and so too were many of our hotels, shops, restaurants, festivals, and attractions. The Shaw's costume makers turned into making masks to meet community demand when the supply of medical masks was scarce. Some of our distilleries shifted from making gin to making hand sanitizer when this was in short supply. Many of our wineries had to remain flexible to deal with the ever-changing capacity limits for weddings and events. Distribution of wine and local produce, takeout orders instead of dine-in, applications upon applications for one sort of government funding or program, and supply challenges became our new normal. But through their sheer resilience, stubborn determination, positive outlook, even in the bleakest of times, and support from the federal, provincial, and municipal governments, Niagara-on-the-Lake businesses largely weathered the pandemic storm and are emerging on this side hopeful and optimistic. We at the Chamber believe that this post-pandemic period provides our members the opportunity to take advantage of the new demands that COVID has created. Personal safety equipment, the convenience economy, supply chain management business opportunities, transportation and distribution, health and elderly care services, a shift in how and where people work, the need to reconnect with loved ones in meaningful experiences, and pent-up travel demand. This post-pandemic era comes with its own challenges: high inflation, labor shortages, supply chain issues, and as we continue to see in the newly released census data, an aging population, which will mean a reduced workforce, a shift in housing needs as people age, and increased demands for healthcare. Labor shortages are affecting businesses across North America, and Niagara-on-the-Lake is not spared. This difficulty in staffing up to optimum levels creates challenges in delivering on the high level of service that Niagara-on-the-Lake is known for. In the tourism sector, we continue to join the advocacy of the Tourism Industry Association of Canada to remind the various levels of government that reopened does not mean recovered, and that our tourism industry will require ongoing support. Thank you to my predecessor, Eduardo Laforgue, our board of directors, and the dedicated staff at the Chamber for navigating not only our organization through the turbulent waters of the COVID pandemic, but for being a powerful resource to our members, business community, and residential community through the in-the-moment dissemination of critical information and business resources during the last 2 years. Thank you, Lord Mayor, Town Council, and town staff for working with the Chamber and the business community during this pandemic to provide comfort, hope, support, and resources. Thank you for being responsive to the quickly changing needs of our business community during COVID to cushion the impacts. One example of this is allowing outdoor dining when public health measures banned indoor dining via the patio program. We at the Chamber believe in fostering strong, positive relationships and powerful partnerships. We truly believe in synergy, that the combined value of and performance of the town and the Chamber will be greater than the sum of our individual parts. The town and the Chamber together can do great work for Niagara-on-the-Lake. We are pleased to work and partner with the town on two things that will immensely benefit the town of Niagara-on-the-Lake: the development of the tourism strategy and the rollout of the municipal accommodation tax. We believe that through the stakeholder engagement that will go into developing the tourism strategy, both the residents and the business community will get the opportunity to provide input into shaping that plan. I believe it will provide the opportunity to identify and address a lot of the conflicts between residents and tourism in a touristic town where the very residential spaces that become, where our very residential spaces become part of the tourist attraction. I sincerely believe that what we as a community will end up with is a tourism strategy that we can be proud of, take ownership for, and have a place in the implementation of that strategy. As a destination marketing organization for the town, we at Tourism Niagara-on-the-Lake look forward to the fair implementation of the MAT to create more certainty around our revenues for tourism marketing and tourism product development. We look forward to creating and implementing a robust tourism marketing plan, complete with a brand exercise for Niagara-on-the-Lake tourism, communications plan, social media strategy, advertising plan, and a tourism product development plan that is directly in keeping with the defined tourism strategy. We are pleased that the town will have a share of the MAT revenues available for development, upkeep, and enhancement of critical tourism infrastructure. The town and the Chamber have the opportunity to do good work for tourism through the tourism strategy and the rollout of the MAT. I am therefore pleased to introduce Betty Disero, who is Lord Mayor for Niagara-on-the-Lake Town Council for the 2018-2022 term. Lord Mayor Betty is a Chamber of the Rotary Club. She sits on the Parks Board of Directors and is a member of the Niagara Regional Council. Lord Mayor, once again, welcome.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. I'd like to start off by thanking the Chamber of Commerce for hosting the second annual State of the Town this morning. I always appreciate the opportunity to speak with business owners and residents about how the town is evolving to meet our new realities. On behalf of the town, I would like to officially welcome Minerva Ward to her new position of President and CEO of the Niagara-on-the-Lake Chamber of Commerce and Tourism, Niagara-on-the-Lake. Minerva, we wish you much success. I'm also pleased to be joined today by our CAO, Marnie Cluckie, and I'm going to ask Marnie to answer some of your questions that are currently being reviewed by our staff. From the beginning of this term, Council has been working hard to provide 1, excellence in customer service, 2, a vision and a plan that will carry us through to the next decade, and 3, determine the infrastructure necessary to provide a good quality of life for our residents and infrastructure that will create an environment to help our businesses flourish, all the while trying to work our way through a once-in-a-century pandemic. Let me start with excellence in customer service. Transparency, accountability, and accessibility for the electorate is one of the most important ethical pillars within the town's strategic plan. In honesty, it has sometimes made our processes a little longer, but because Council feels so strongly about this, there's been much reaching out through surveys, community meetings, discussions, new committees, and focus groups. Engagement with our residents and community members remains an important priority for town staff and Council. Through creative initiatives such as the Step Challenge, Park Hop Initiative, Senior Citizen Strawberry Social, Halloween Giveaway, and more, staff work hard to provide fun and meaningful engagement opportunities for all ages. Last year, staff saw well over 1,000 residents and families participate in our various community engagement initiatives. Council, and in turn our CAO, have been going through a very extensive recruitment process to build a team and a culture of service to the community. While this has been going on throughout this term, with more work to be done, we believe we are moving in the right direction. With financial assistance from the provincial government this term, we were able to conduct a service delivery review for our administration to see how red tape could be streamlined and services made more efficient. Our new senior management team will be implementing new best practices. This will be dynamic and continuous improvements will be made going forward. On January 12, 2022, our Customer Experience Division introduced a new curbside pickup option to enhance convenience and promote physical safety for customers. The goal of the curbside pickup is a seamless process that delivers true convenience, saves time, and maintains safety by helping to minimize person-to-person interactions while enhancing service and convenience to our customers. Curbside pickup is an excellent way to maintain business continuity and provide improved services to residents. To date, 195 curbside pickups have been made. Serving our residents and the public is so very important to us, and we continue to make every effort to enhance service levels throughout this pandemic and beyond. Since the start of the pandemic, modernization efforts have become more important than ever, and becoming more efficient through digital means allows for improved, more effective service to our customers. Staff has been diligent in their efforts to apply for grants and various funding opportunities to support municipal modernization efforts, including the new town website, new meeting management software, shop model, and a service delivery review, fleet services review, with more modernization efforts on the way. To date, we've received over $3 million in grants this year alone to assist with specific projects for our town. The town is committed to delivering modern and efficient services that are financially sustainable. Grant funding from the provincial government for these efforts helps strengthen the delivery of critical town programs and services that residents depend on while saving tax dollars. To support the town's culture of customer service and excellence and better serve the Niagara-on-the-Lake community, With help of provincial funding, the town is replacing its current website with a new and innovative site that includes a creative, intuitive, and user-focused architecture that highlights the information users want most and need most. The new website, to be launched on May 3rd, is intended to be engaging, easy to use, and fully accessible, utilizing advanced technology to improve levels of service and strengthen multimedia communication delivery methods. The 4 core themes of the website include service excellent, ease of use, accessible government, and design aesthetics. The sleek design, AODA compliant, and easy to navigate website will be a fantastic addition to modernization efforts, and it will make accessing information easier for both users and our staff. The website has enhanced digital features such as eScribe, our new meeting platform that will be launching Monday, May 16th, online payment option, a live chat feature, and our interactive construction project pages. I could not let this state of the town go by without talking about the pandemic. It was 2 years of angst. People were worried about their life, their livelihood, their families, their friends, and their neighbors. People took care of themselves and each other. Organizations, businesses, residents, and clubs came forward with such generosity and compassion. Together, we comforted those who needed comfort, supported our frontline and healthcare workers, and helped those in need. Even when the provincial and federal government rules seemed severe, we understood that it was to protect ourselves and each other. I am so very proud of everyone in this town because together we made it through to this point. With this new 6th wave, we are learning how to live with these challenges and this new normal. I am also very proud of the way staff at the town worked hard to assist our businesses. When someone called in with an idea, we acted quickly to see if we could make it a reality. For example, the process for temporary patios. Temporary A-frames were expedited, and extra cleaning was scheduled in public washrooms so they could be reopened as quickly as possible. With everyone who called in and had an idea or a suggestion, each idea was thought through and discussed by our emergency control group. Every voice mattered. While supporting local business is always critical to economic development and growth, the COVID-19 pandemic shone a light on the increasing support and the importance of such support. As a result, June 2020, town staff developed phase 1 of an online business directory, and in less than 2 months, more than 160 local businesses were registered. The business directory became the foundation for the Niagara-on-the-Lake Shop Local program known as Shop Noddle, a dedicated website showcasing Niagara-on-the-Lake's superb and diverse business community. Launching in February 2022, shopnoddle.ca now boasts nearly 300 local businesses and is reaching users worldwide, including website visitors in places like India, United Kingdom, and Ireland. In the comfort of their home or office, individuals can use their desktop or smartphones to visit the website and shop by category and seek out places to stay, things to do, and where to eat. The website will be inclusive, providing equal opportunity for all Noddle businesses and communities, and inspire the confidence for each user as a place to go for information. I'll give you an example anecdotally about how every voice matters. One email we received early on in the pandemic. This person wanted to support local business but was new to the town and didn't know what was available. From that one email, we started the town's business directory. I can remember going door to door along Hennigan to encourage businesses to sign up for the directory. And from there, our CAO and staff took it to an even higher level, and now we have Shop Noddle. There are 2 very important obligations that a council has to its municipality, and I want to focus on these 2 obligations today. The first one is planning, and the second is infrastructure. It is the obligation of council to provide a vision and put in place a plan to meet that vision for the town. While we wait for the region to approve our official plan, we are now turning our minds to the comprehensive zoning bylaw. This bylaw will take into consideration our heritage, the built form of neighborhoods, and how we look at mandated secondary suites for residential. This project has begun, and my hope is that we will push it ahead with your input. So many of our heritage buildings or sites in both rural and urban areas have not been protected. If we do this in advance, it will stop any uncertainty as what we wish to keep in our town as our identity. Our existing zoning bylaw, passed in 2009, allows for buildings and homes that are sometimes so large for the property they have to rely on their neighbors for a canopy trees, and they look out of character. In order to increase our rental stock, the province has mandated that secondary suites or granny suites be permitted as of right in all existing home structures in order to provide long-term rentals in our all official plans. This must now be built into our new zoning bylaw as well. We will have to set a criteria, for example, a parking requirement, that if met, will allow these as of right secondary suites. Again, if people know what the rules are, as of right secondary suites, the process will be much smoother. So these are three things that need to be addressed in our review: heritage, size and height of homes, and secondary suites. Council is very proud that in a partnership with the region, the Glendale District Plan was approved. Glendale is a very important part of our community. It will provide an opportunity for new homes, new employment, and amazing parks and natural features like the UNESCO Biosphere and the new Geopark. It is a major transportation hub with access to the Queenie, the GO Bus to Burlington train, and the connection to regional transportation with the rest of the Niagara region. I am pleased that we were able to adopt the Niagara District Plan and are now working on the Glendale Secondary Plan. The second and equally important obligation of council to its municipality is to work with the community to provide amenities and infrastructure required to ensure the needs of the community are met and quality of life is enhanced by those services. Infrastructure like parks, recreation space, sidewalks, trails, libraries, and museums. Today, I am pleased to tell you that your council has heard you, and with the financial generosity of partners like the Virgil Business Association, Niagara Nursery School, Central Community Church, the Migrant Workers Hub, and our residents, we have added or supported parks improvements to every community, including pickleball courts, improved and added tennis courts, basketball courts, a skateboard park, playgrounds, and for this year, we will soon be seeing a proposal come in to add disc golf to the community center. The Glendale area of Niagara-on-the-Lake has a new central community church. And within the church on York Road, there will be a new daycare, an event center, and recreation for our youth. We've completed phase 1 of the Heritage Trail between John and East-West Line. We have built shoreline protections. Niagara-on-the-Lake Community Center has a new expanded nursery school and soon a senior center. Our library has broadened their services. The museum will be expanding their home. Pleasant Manor and Niagara Long-Term Care will be adding new beds. And residents in our community have established a migrant workers hub. In 4 short years, look at what this community working together have achieved, even through a pandemic. There is one thing, though, that particularly needs our attention. Many of our residents are interested in downsizing, but are still very active and do not require any type of long-term care. Niagara-on-the-Lake is lacking retirement housing. We had hoped the Tapestry project from Concert Home was going to be built. In 2020, April 1, there was to be a sod turning on Hunter Road, but it became one of the casualties of the COVID pandemic. So now we as a community must look at how we can provide this style of housing for our residents. While infrastructure is meant to support quality of life, we also have an obligation as a council to provide an environment for our business community that will help them to flourish. I am pleased to say we are having some success attracting business to Niagara-on-the-Lake. I will be at an opening of a new manufacturing location that will be making personal protective equipment in the next few weeks. Council has also just approved an incentive plan for a new industrial mall on York Road. When we look at infrastructure to help the economy or to promote economic growth, Council is committed to assisting our largest collective of employers, our tourism industry, to grow and be successful. Council recognizes the necessity for a tourism strategy for the future promotion of our tourism in our town. Infrastructure and creating spaces for tourism will help us manage the millions of visitors. Approximately 2 years ago, Town Council approved a new gateway look for Niagara-on-the-Lake. In coordination with the province and the region, we supported an enhanced, decorative, inviting look at the exit from the Queen Elizabeth Way. When completed, this new lighting and floral roundabout will invite people to visit. It will also make a very important connection between Niagara-on-the-Green community, Niagara College, the Outlet Mall, to the north side of the Queen E. Council also, in the middle of the pandemic, chose to approve funding that will change Highway 55 from 4 Mile Creek to East-West Line to a more walkable destination for residents and visitors, making a welcoming place for people to stop, eat, rent a bike, shop, or just hang out. The overhead wires will be gone, and decorative sidewalks and sitting areas will appear. Council and the community must now turn our sights to Queen Street. Before the pandemic, Queen Street was an elegant, historical street. In order to help businesses, we allowed temporary patios and temporary A-frame signs. What we learned is that people love the patios. What we need to do now is to find a way to keep the patios on Queen Street while getting back to that elegant, historical street. Queen Street needs infrastructure refresher. This is a project that must be done sooner rather than later. During the pandemic, Council felt changing our public transit system to an on-demand service was more efficient. Knowing the importance of this service to many people, this year, the catchment area has been expanded to include a much larger portion of Niagara-on-the-Lake. Council voted yes as part of the triple majority to a seamless regional transit system. And I am pleased to say the cost will not be overwhelming to our taxpayers. Our first order of business will be to get expanded hours, so employees can get service when they finish work and not be stranded. Councillor Norm Arsenault was appointed the town's representative on this new regional board for this year, and he recommended at our last council meeting this past Monday that we look to extending the hours of service this year. Active leisure and healthy lifestyles are an ongoing trend that will continue to grow. Riding out to beautiful wineries, vineyards, craft breweries, and distilleries, or just looking at the natural and built heritage draws a large number of people to Niagara-on-the-Lake. Quite often, these rides to our fabulous wineries take people onto rural roads that are 80 kilometers per hour with not a lot of shoulder space. Today, I can tell you that our transportation master plan recognizes this and addresses where these paths and trails should be. The new routes for bicycles will assist our tourist industry to flourish even more. One very big artery for riders is along Concession 1. The Heritage Trail Committee and staff are pushing ahead to provide an off-road alternative. And as mentioned, they've completed Phase 1 to East-West Line. And last week they announced that they are starting to work on Phase 2 from East-West Line to Line 9. I'd like to mention just quickly one more time secondary suites that the province has now required municipalities to allow as of right. I believe this will also help our businesses. We should see this as an opportunity to provide an affordable option for people working in the tourism sector. And lastly, on tourism infrastructure, I would be remiss if I did not give recognition and gratitude to our culture industry, both performing and visual. Hats off to our wonderful Shaw Festival, Music Niagara, Bravo Niagara, TD Jazz Festival, Yellow Door, the Pump House and the museum, and every restaurant that hires a local Niagara-on-the-Lake musician or hangs a piece of art from a local artist. Notwithstanding that Niagara Region has decided not to participate in cultural or heritage grants this year, I can tell you that your council and town administration continue to support culture and heritage grants. The town's portion of the heritage grants is continuing, and we will look to ways to support visual and performing arts as best we can until we get into a more stable financial position. These groups, every single one of them, are our heart and soul. Without them, we are just bricks and mortar. Our world is changing. Climate change has become a potential for disaster and must be dealt with. More and more people of all ages worry about our future and the future of our planet. I am proud to announce that on March 28, 2022, Council approved the town's climate change adaptation plan. The vision statement in this plan is Niagara-on-the-Lake will demonstrate leadership and innovation to protect the community's natural beauty, charm, and heritage against the impact of climate change today and into the future. The plan includes 6 high-level goals and 27 actions that the town will undertake to adapt to climate change. This plan will ensure the community is positioned to build resilience, mitigate future threats, and ensure a prosperous future for generations to come. The Town of Niagara-on-the-Lake Council is dedicated to working with staff and residents and many other community stakeholders to successfully implement the plan's vision, goals, and actions. So, it is with a great amount of pride and enthusiasm I tell you the state of our town is filled with hope and optimism. We have come through a very difficult period because of this pandemic, but I see recovery now and in the future. I see the town of Niagara-on-the-Lake coming back stronger and better than before. We, council and staff, have taken our obligations seriously and understand that good customer service, planning, and building infrastructure will bring a better quality of life to our citizens and provide opportunities for the business to prosper. Instead of panicking, we planned. Instead of looking at why something cannot be done, we did it. However, we still have work to do, but together we'll get there. And I want to thank my colleagues on council, town staff, committees of council, businesses and residents of Niagara-on-the-Lake for their participation and encouragement to make Niagara-on-the-Lake a better place to live and work. Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Thank you, Lord Mayor, for that. And thank you again for your leadership of the town of Niagara-on-the-Lake. I noted a few words while you spoke. I noted the words honesty, community engagement, culture of service to the community, service delivery to reduce red tape, continuous improvement, customer service, municipal modernization efforts, modern and efficient service, service excellence, and ease of doing business. And I thank you for making that the hallmark of your tenure at Niagara-on-the-Lake, the town of Niagara-on-the-Lake, Lord Mayor. There were some things I noted in your speech, and as a chamber, we thank you for that. And these would be the new gateway look for Niagara-on-the-Lake, the enhanced decorative look to the entrance of Niagara-on-the-Lake from the QEW, the floral roundabout, and the connectivity of the various regions of Niagara-on-the-Lake, Queen Street refresher, the extension of the temporary patio program, a seamless regional transit system that will really benefit businesses through the staff who work in Niagara-on-the-Lake. Secondary suites, we were happy to hear of that, that the town has, that phase 1 of that, or the preliminary, we've received approval in principle for that. So we look forward to that, be able to provide a suite of inventory for accommodation for staff working in Niagara-on-the-Lake. The expansion of the bike and riding trails, and the extension of the service times for on-demand public transit system. So Lord Mayor Betty and CAO Marnie, we invited questions in from residents and the business community when we advertised the state of the town. And we received some questions from the public. And in the interest of time, we may not have time to go through every single one, but we'll try to get through as many as possible. So these are some of the questions we received. So this question comes from a homeowner on Victoria Street whose home is registered under the Heritage Act. Are there any plans in place to create a master plan for Old Town that will ensure that new homes being built are in keeping with the size, look, and character of the other heritage homes in Old Town? How do we ensure we maintain the character of the Old Town residential neighborhoods? Lord Mayor Betty, I will hand that one over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. It is a great question because this is something that we're doing right now. We're going through our official plan that we're waiting for the province and the region to approve. But in the meantime, what we had thought originally, what we had thought originally was we could get the official plan approved right away. The region decided that they were going to do their own before they approve ours, so we're waiting. But what comes after the official plan, and something we've started even before our official plan gets approved, is this new zoning bylaw review. And as I mentioned when I spoke, 3 things we're looking at is, and one of them I think is in answer to your questioner's question, is the height and size for buildings that will be built, for homes that will be built in all areas of the town, because it is a comprehensive zoning review. And so I think once we, I think that's where you'll see the answer come out, is what is important in terms of height and built form for houses. Previously to 2009, it was a contextual review that had to be done every time somebody applied for a building permit. But 2009, what happened, and I don't think it was anything, there was no malice to it, but what council decided was that they would just allow 30 feet heights, 5-foot setbacks, and to make it easier for people to apply for building permits. But what's happened is people are taking that to the max, and we're now seeing much larger homes being built particularly in the Old Town area. This review will help that.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, for that. We received quite a few questions which tell about the character of the Old Town area and maintaining the look and feel of the Old Town, Queen Street, and the residential areas. Quite a few of our questions had those common themes. This second question says there's a new chain ice cream shop that has been approved for Queen Street. What is the town's position on allowing chain restaurants and businesses whose brands and concepts do not necessarily fit into the character of Old Town and Queen Street? Lord Mayor, perhaps you can answer, and Madam CAO, if you want to chime in, please feel free to do so.
Okay, so there used to be, I guess, I don't know, an unwritten rule with the property owners on Queen Street that was that they were going to try to keep the shops unique and not allow chain stores to come in. And I think that may have changed now. And the only opportunity that the town has in terms of what is going in is through our municipal heritage rules and bylaws, and that only pertains to the outside look of how a building looks. So what we can do as a municipal government is make sure that whoever is going in there, and we've already have a couple of chains, I think Starbucks and Sunset Grill, and now with this coming, and I'm sure there's going to be pressure on the building owners to accept more chain stores, but all we can do as a municipality is ensure that they keep the heritage look and the elegance of the street that we know to be Niagara-on-the-Lake, and that's our trademark. So our Municipal Heritage Committee is working hard to ensure that those rules are kept. Marnie, I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
The Lord Mayor did an excellent job. I'll just add to that a little bit. So while the town is not allowed to restrict the users themselves, it can only identify permitted uses. So you can say a restaurant is allowed, but you can't say who the owner is, what specifically it is, or how they run the restaurant. But we do have this mechanism, as the Lord Mayor noted, whereby people need to apply for a permit. And then once that permit process starts, it runs through the Municipal Heritage Committee, and then they weigh in on how to keep the exterior building design looking in a way that keeps with the character of that heritage area. What sort of signage will reflect the intent of the heritage area. And then it goes through and gets approval from MHC and then to council for approval. So in that way, we can ensure that we still maintain the character.
Thank you, Marnie, for expanding on that answer. Thank you, Lord Mayor. So this question comes from a bed and breakfast owner. The town has included bed and breakfast into the same category as short-term rentals. Niagara-on-the-Lake is apparently the only municipality that categorizes B&Bs as short-term rentals. Everywhere else, they fall in the same category as hotels, motels, and inns. B&B owners must reside at their properties as opposed to cottages, vacation rentals, etc. As B&B owners reside in their homes, they are not hollowing out the neighborhoods as it has been claimed with the other short-term rentals, which may sit empty for extended periods. Why wouldn't the town separate B&Bs from other types of short-term accommodation? Perhaps, Marnie, you would like to take a question?
Sure, thank you for that question. So first I'll say that the town is currently working on updating the short-term rental bylaw and taking into consideration what the short-term rental committee provides to us, advice from the license appeal committee and other business and resident feedback, like the Chautauqua Residents Association and the BBA and others. So we hope to reconvene the short-term rental committee again in May with our response to their recommendations and then come to council with an update. Now, in regards to this specific question, thank you. I'll add a little bit of clarity around that if I can. So this particular question relates to the Municipal Act licensing and what falls under the Municipal Act. So municipalities that license short-term rentals address all types of short-term rentals, and they may establish different requirements by type. Niagara-on-the-Lake has actually served as a template for many other Ontario municipalities. We started quite early into the short-term rental bylaw realm. There might be municipalities that don't license short-term rentals, but I'm not familiar with them. So our bylaw defines various kinds of short-term rentals, and it's defined as the rental of a dwelling, owner-occupied or not, for 28 days or less. And then that bylaw establishes different requirements for bed and breakfast establishments, but does still require them to be licensed. B&Bs aren't actually regulated like hotels. That falls under the Hotel Registration of Guests Act, which is different, and that applies to facilities with more than 6 bedrooms. I won't bore you with the details of the legislation, but if anyone wanted to outreach after, I could go through that and give some relevant links. So that's why it's managed in that way under the short-term rental bylaw with a different definition and different requirements, but still in that area. That said, as I mentioned earlier, I think there's opportunities to make improvement to that, and that's why we're updating the bylaw, and while you'll see us work with our partners and come forward to council with something new in the future.
Thank you, Marnie. And that segues into another question we also got from another B&B owner. It seems there's quite a bit of interest in providing questions for this event from bed and breakfast owners. And perhaps you could take this one as well. Under the current rules, if a B&B is sold, the license of the owner who is leaving is cancelled on the day of closing, while the new owner cannot apply until they take over. As reservations can be booked long before the sale of the property, this can be a problem. The new owner should be able to start the paperwork before they take over, and after inspections are done, can have the conditional license issued effective the closing date to not inconvenience the guests and to make the transition between owners smooth and seamless for the guests. Is this something the town could look into changing?
Thank you. In short, yes, absolutely. We can and we will. I mentioned that we're looking at updating our short-term rental bylaw. I was fortunate that someone outreached to me directly about this very topic recently and identified it to me as a concern. So the town has been working on resolving this both short-term and long-term, and will be reviewed and included in the updated bylaw. In the interim, what I did was ask staff to accept the application paperwork prior to transference to help expedite, and then to very quickly accommodate inspections so it can be as seamless as possible. So that should help significantly. And then looking at solving the problem long-term will be an update to the short-term rental bylaw. There's actually some conflicting language in our bylaw, which we were able to identify through this outreach. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Marnie. So there's another question from a B&B owner, which says, as we understand it, the MAT is supposed to be split between tourism promotion and the town. How will the town evaluate the change, if any, to tourism? How will the town monitor and collect this tax? Why is the accommodation sector the only one having to pay this tax, which is supposed to be of a benefit to all? Perhaps, Marnie, you'd like to take this one, and if Lord Mayor wants to chime in or to add a bit of information to that, you're welcome to do so.
Thank you. Great questions. Another initiative that we're working on now. So I'll do my best to answer what I can, but there will be a lot more information forthcoming on this topic. So yes, MAT revenues are proposed to be a split of 50-50 with the town and the local destination marketing organization, or otherwise known as the DMO. Changes to tourism are going to be monitored through the local DMO, and then future updates will be provided also through the town's tourism strategy. We will be establishing benchmarks so we can measure the outcomes and level of success over time. Certain industry statistics are also available to help with that, such as occupancy and overall revenues that can be viewed through the CBRE hotels through Statistics Canada, and it can be compared against MAT revenues that are received by others to see if Niagara-on-the-Lake market is following industry trends and how we're doing. In regards to tax then, the town's going to monitor and collect tax through a bylaw, which is currently being developed. It's being modeled right now in a similar fashion to existing MAT programs that are rolled out in other municipalities who have had it for some time and who have successfully delivered on that. So we can learn from their growing pains and hopefully make our bylaw as good as possible from the onset. And then we would monitor it regularly for compliance. So there's various items built into the draft bylaws, but our next step on that front is actually to get together with our new advisory committee and vet that and then bring it back to council. So that's in the works right now, but I want to make sure that we've consulted and that it's a very communicative process where we're taking input and building that in. So I won't get into those details right now. To answer the last couple of questions then, this tax is one of the newer revenue tools that are offered to municipalities, and so it seeks to find a balance between the needs of the tourism industry and the needs of residents, sort of mitigating the impact of tourism on residents and infrastructure. So I liken it to development charges in that it seeks to have growth pay for growth. So the idea of this is tourism pays for tourism. And in the wake of COVID-19, the MAT presents a new source of funding for the local DMO to support the tourism industry in this time where we're rebounding and recovering. So as I said, we're currently working through the details, and we'll be working collaboratively with our Tourism Governance Advisory Group, and then we'll be bringing back that information to Council. I hope that adequately answers those questions, and perhaps the Lord Mayor wants to talk a little bit more about the relevance of this program.
Thank you, Marnie. And there you go, everyone. This is why we are so thrilled to have Marnie as our CAO. Those answers were excellent. I see the MAT being able to help us grow as a community. It is really important that we create spaces that are safe for visitors and for residents on the first part, but also more that will help us accommodate the management of the millions of people that come every year. So that way we're not getting residents that are upset with the numbers of people coming. We're trying to work, and I believe the MAT will provide us with a resource to be able to do that. And I think our goal at the end of the day is to have residents happy about our visitors coming to town and not have to struggle with trying to live in Niagara-on-the-Lake. So I think the MAT provides a resource for us to better balance and better manage what's going on in Niagara-on-the-Lake. And I did also want to step in, and I'll say this, I'm not sure, this is my own personal opinion. It's not quite yet the position of council, but I'm sure some of my colleagues agree with me that the in terms of B&Bs and being able to transfer licenses, but also being looked at in a different light. The thing that I think concerns me anyway, and some of my colleagues, is that there is less accountability with short-term rentals in terms of maintenance and supervision on who's coming in. And while we try to welcome guests and make them feel comfortable, sometimes it creates issues for residents around these holiday rentals. And so I agree that B&Bs are a special type of use in a home, and very accountable for everything that happens within their home and outside their home, and are different than short-term rentals. The other thing too is I was a little bit surprised to see that there wasn't the transferability when someone sells a B&B and to allow someone to take over and start operating. Nothing changes when you sign a paper of different ownership. So it would seem to me that those same approvals that someone has when they're operating, once they transfer it to the new owner, should be maintained and maybe ratified at a later date, but they should be allowed to continue that operation. Because if it takes 6 months to get an approval, you're looking at somebody who may not be able to last the 6 months without getting some type of revenue. So that's it for me, but I think Marnie did a fantastic job answering the questions.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and thank you, Marnie, for that. You've done a fantastic job of answering the questions. So I'm aware and cognizant that it's 11 o'clock, and I'll just ask the Lord Mayor the final question, and you can give final remarks, and then we'll wrap up. Lord Mayor, as your 2018-2022 term draws to a close, what is it that you're proudest of having achieved for Niagara-on-the-Lake? So this will be my final question, and you could add any closing remarks, and then I'll leave my closing remarks, and we'll end the state of the town.
Well, that question was not sent to me. I had no time to prepare for this one. But I guess the thing that I'm most proud of is the amount that we have accomplished in 4 years, even with a pandemic. So that's what while, like I said, instead of panicking, we planned. And instead of saying, no, we can't do this, we did it. So those two statements are very important to me, because our council went through 4 years. Like, we started with a flood, down in the dock areas. Then we went into a pandemic. Now we're struggling with issues, wildlife issues. So we're still continue to move forward, to plan, to build that infrastructure. And like I said, with all the community partners that we've had, we have done a lot collectively, not just council, not just me, but everyone working together. We have accomplished a lot over 4 years through this pandemic. And I am so proud of everyone to have been able to do that. So I think if anybody asks me what my biggest accomplishment is, that's it.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Excellent answer. I think sometimes it's just weathering those storms, and for any leader, yourself included, having to navigate or help a community go through 2 years of pandemic is nothing short of miraculous. Thank you once again for your leadership. Thank you, Marnie, for your leadership in the town as well. From by all accounts, from everything I've heard from everybody in Niagara-on-the-Lake, you've always been a voice of very, very flexible, very customer service focused, very willing to work in the best interest of Niagara-on-the-Lake. So thank you, Lord Mayor. Thank you, Madam CEO. Thank you for your time. Thank you for my staff of the chamber for putting this address together. And thank you for sending in your questions and taking the time to listen today to the State of the Town address. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Minerva. Thanks.
Thank you.